259,200 minutes, 4,320 hours, 6 months. That is how long the NFL season has been since preseason week 1, if you're in the Super Bowl. Chiefs versus Eagles, the last two remaining teams left in the entire league. After battling all year, fighting through injuries, and retaining a flawless 16-3 record for the season, you get the privilege of possibly bringing home the Lombardi Trophy, the most coveted award in all of football, a trophy that every player and franchise wishes to have touched amidst a glorious victory at least once. It's something bigger than football. It's what brings the city together to celebrate such a monumental moment in history. And we have two teams that have experienced this type of sensation before, both in the last decade. They know the feeling. It's euphoric and an indescribable feeling that they both want back. And that's exactly why Super Bowl 57 will be the greatest Super Bowl game of all time. That was just my attempt at a hype intro, but this game really does have a chance of being the greatest Super Bowl of all time. Let me elaborate a little bit. The Eagles have nearly every positional advantage going into this matchup. They have a better offensive line, wide receivers, running backs, front seven, secondary, special teams, and Coach of the Year candidate Nick Sirianni. The only thing the Eagles don't have better is a QB and a tight end. Chiefs obviously have the best quarterback in football, Patrick Mahomes, and the best tight end in Travis Kelce. And you could even say that they have the best QB to receiver connection in the NFL at this point. With that in mind, this will require an absolute masterclass from Patrick Mahomes. He will need to play near perfect to win this game because nobody else will be able to win this game. There can be no turnovers, no missed throws, and no missed cues, which makes this game even more appealing. Mahomes has played great so far in these playoffs. 521 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 69.9 completion percentage, and 0 interceptions. And if he wants to win this game, it will rely on him to do the spectacular things that he does. Super Bowl 54 against the 49ers, Mahomes and company were down 20-10 in the fourth quarter, and then went on to score 21 points in the fourth quarter. And I know the Eagles have dominated all of their playoff opponents so far, and the Chiefs have been dominated by the Bucs in Super Bowl 55. But Patrick Mahomes will never go down like that again. I can guarantee that. So that's why I'm saying get ready for some Mahomes magic. Another reason why this game will be legendary is the Andy Reid connection to Philadelphia. Before being the Chiefs head coach, Andy Reid was the Philadelphia Eagles head coach from 1999 to 2012, and they had their share of good and bad memories, the best being the 2004 season where the Eagles went 13-3. They had Donovan McNabb at QB, Terrell Owens at wide receiver, Brian Westbrook before all the injuries, and an elite defense at the time. You had Weapon X at free safety, Javon Curse, Lito Shepard, Michael Lewis. Let's just say it was a good time to be an Eagles fan. But little did the Eagles know they were going against a young Tom Brady, future GOAT of the NFL. So they lost and only reached the conference championship one more time in 2008. Between McNabb's injuries throughout the early 2000s and Andy Reid's bad decisions as an Eagles head coach, and by bad decisions, I mean his inability to retain star wide receivers when he obviously was a pass-heavy head coach, his desire to not run the football, but instead make McNabb throw 40 times a game every game, and his multiple decisions when it came to hiring and firing of coordinators, specifically hiring your offensive line coach to be your new defensive coordinator, aka Juan Castillo. But when the Eagles and Andy Reid parted ways in 2012, everyone was pretty amicable about it all. And as we see now, it worked out for the best for both the Chiefs and the Eagles. And just to throw a little icing on the cake, Andy Reid let Nick Sirianni go in the Chiefs. Nick Sirianni was the Chiefs wide receiver coach, if you're not familiar, and Andy Reid had brought someone in that he worked with 14 years in Kansas City with him, and ultimately let Sirianni go. So basically, we have a revenge game for both coaches, revenge on the city that fired him, and revenge on the coach that fired him. I'm making it sound way more serious than it is, because there is no bad blood at this point. But let's get the creative juices going. This is also the first brother versus brother Super Bowl. I know Jim and John Harbaugh coached against each other in Super Bowl 47. That's why I said players, okay? Don't get mad at me. But in this one, we have tight end Travis Kelce from the Chiefs and center Jason Kelce from the Eagles. Both longtime players of each franchise. Jason Kelce 12 years, Travis 10, and both the best at their respected position. And it's just heartwarming and funny to see two brothers get to play in the Super Bowl against each other. They will shake hands in warm-ups, talk to each other, hug each other after the game. NFL will play a little snippet of them together and poke fun at it. And an interesting narrative given that they started a podcast in the same year. And finally, Arizona is home to amazing Super Bowls. They are 3 for 3 on high quality Super Bowl games. The last game they hosted was Super Bowl 49, Patriots versus Seahawks. where we have the infamous play right here.
Now 2nd and goal, Russell Wilson, what are you doing? He gets picked off by the undrafted rookie.
I mean, they still talk about the Super Bowl and the infamous amount of memes stemming from this game. I mean, in my opinion, I consider this a top 5 Super Bowl, and if you look online, so does everyone else. And then you got Super Bowl 42, Patriots versus Giants. I mean, do I even have to say anything at this point? The helmet catch, Patriots' perfect season derailed, Giants' 14th point fourth quarter comeback. Easily a top 5 Super Bowl, easily. And it's one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history, if we're being honest. Then we go way back to the ancient times, 1996. Super Bowl 30, Steelers versus Cowboys, which doesn't live up to the first two, but we still had Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Kevin Green, Charles Haley. Still a bunch of star talent to look for in that game, just not as competitive or jaw-dropping as the other two. And with that in mind, I believe Arizona is some holy grail for Super Bowls that spawns great games. So let's ride this idea and hopefully we get a great game for Super Bowl 57. And now this is finally, I know I said it before, but this is actually finally. The Eagles have only lost one game with Jalen Hurts all year. They have the 3rd most sacks in a season by a team ever with 70. They have dominated both playoff opponents by a point differential of plus 54. Granted, the 49ers had no QBs left. They still went off on the defense. We could be possibly looking at a dynasty here. A young QB, a young talented wide receiver duo, a hungry head coach, and one of the most talented defensive lines in years, just in sheer terms of depth. I mean, look at this. This is insane. And that's why this game will go down as an all-time game, just based on those factors alone. And that's all I got for you today, and it's only right to end it like this. My Super Bowl 57 winner is Chiefs.